Children's rights groups are sounding the alarm as we get startling new information about some of the youngest people caught up in President Trump's immigration crackdown. A new analysis from the Marshall Project finds ICE has detained more than 6,000 children since Trump took office last year. The number of kids in detention has multiplied tenfold. That means 226 kids are being held on the average day, and at its peak, reached 550 children held in a single day during the administration's January crackdown in Minnesota. Let's bring in the journalist behind this reporting from the Marshall Project, staff writer Shannon Heffernan and senior data reporter Anna Flagg. Anna, in January, you reported that the number of children in detention had risen sixfold, with an average of 170 kids in ICE custody each day. But now that's 10 times higher than what it was when the president took office, with a daily average of 226 children in custody. Why has it increased tenfold? And is this because of the Minnesota crackdown?
I think the increase is driven by the Trump administration's focus on family detention. They have really been focusing their enforcement efforts on bringing in as many people as possible into detention and trying to deport as many people as possible. And when you do that, you end up targeting families and children. And so we've seen this really crazy rise in the number of kids that are spending time in detention centers that were never meant to house children.
Some of the details from the court filings are really stunning, with children held at Dilley Detention Center in Texas reportedly being served moldy, worm-infested food, which the government denies. Lawyers representing detained kids say they're sleep-deprived because the lights are kept on all night. One mother told the Associated Press her 13-year-old daughter attempted suicide after she stopped receiving psychiatric treatment there. The administration also denies accusations of poor medical care. Shannon, they've told me, DHS has even said to me, that this is some of the best medical care that undocumented immigrants receive in their lifetimes. You've been talking to one of the families and you've been making calls to them. What have they told you about the lasting impact this is having on their kids?
Well, I think you have long-term physical concerns these families had. We've talked to families who a child had an earache and they have long-lasting hearing damage, they're saying. We've also heard about the long-term psychological impacts that some of these families are having. You mentioned the 13-year-old who attempted suicide. We've also heard from families who say their previously potty-trained child is wetting themselves, or a very young child was hitting themselves. These are prison-like conditions. And those conditions, even short term, can have really long lasting effects on young people. And you've heard all kinds of medical associations speaking out and saying that this is something that is just not healthy for children for any length of time.
Since the number of children being held peaked to 550 on January 16th, that total has been on a sharp decline, with fewer than 90 kids in detention by mid-March. Anna, do we know why that number went down so dramatically? And is there concern that this is just temporary and it could spike again?
That's right. We don't know why the number went down, and we don't know whether the decrease is a short-term trend or a long-term trend. We do know that the government is attempting to get out of the Flores settlement, which is the court agreement that governs how kids are supposed to be treated in detention. So if Flores is ended, then that means there'll be even more risks for children because they won't have the protections that they have right now, even. So that could lead to more kids being held and kids being held for really long periods of time.